I think it's safe to say Tottenham have started the season very well with a 2-2 draw against Brentford, a 2-0 win against Manchester United, and a 2-0 win against Bournemouth, thriving without Harry Kane it seems, and it is all down to big Ange himself. And today we are going to be breaking down his fantastic 4-2-3-1 as you guys have requested it. Quite a fair bit. If you do enjoy the tactics of this channel, please do smash that like button below, and please do consider hitting the subscribe button to see more tactics and pretty much everything FM. But let's go ahead and see how we done inside the game with Tottenham, because let's see what this Spurs team can do. Well, in terms of the Premier League, guys, we actually had an incredible season. We managed to win the Premier League, 38 games played, 30 wins, 5 draws and only 3 losses, picking up a 93 goal difference and 95 points across the season. Man City close, but not close enough, as Tottenham are going to be your Premier League champions. A little bit of disappointment in the FA Cup as we do lose to Crystal Palace in the 5th round, so not the best in the FA Cup, but I'm not going to be too angry considering the Premier League result. To sweeten that blow a little bit as well, we also won the Carabao Cup against bitter rivals Chelsea in a very comfortable 2-0 win. A massive mistake there from Fofana, and Heung-min Son gets off the goals with 28 minutes played, and we're already getting off the goals to a great start. Porro, great link-up play with James Maddison, who's been incredible by the way, and Richarlison finishes it off. In terms of some of the actual league stats though, we had the most points per game at 2.5, most goals at 129, most shots at over 900, and in terms of possession, we were joint first with Manchester City. Obviously, Ange does play that sort of control possession sort of style, so we've replicated that very well. We're going over to the tactic breakdown. We're not going to waste any time today. We are going to talk about Ange Spurs 4-2-3-1. Says what it does on the tin, really, and this is a fantastic 4-2-3-1 and as close as a replica I can possibly get, which also gets good results inside of FM23. So we're going to start things off with the sweeper keeper, who is going to be on support, nice and easy on the default instruction. Next, we're going to have the inverted wingback on the right, on support, again on a default instruction. And this is because this default instruction literally does exactly what I want this player to be doing. I don't want him to be purposely attacking, always going forward in this variant of the tactic. So that is why he's going to remain on the default. We then have a central defender on the right-hand side, simply on defend, because again, he does exactly what I want him to be doing. And on the left, we're going to have a ball-playing defender on defend, simply on the default again, because once again, does exactly what I want them to be doing. We then go over to the wing-back on the left-hand side, who is going to be on support, on stay wider, run wide with ball, and also get further forwards. And as you can imagine, the great thing about this team is these wing-backs pretty much work very well with the wingers. So, for example, this left-hand-sided fullback is obviously going to have the license to go forwards and stay wider. The inside forward is going to tuck in. So it gives a perfect opportunity to have 2 players out on that wide area of the field without colliding them at all. Going upwards a little bit, we're going to have a ball-winning midfield player on support, and the reason why we've opted for this, ideally, I would have a DM on support, to be honest with you, but I did try and have a 4-2-3-1 with the slightly deeper option, so we could have that and facilitate that DM, but it didn't really work, didn't score as many goals, so the ball-winning midfield player on support is a great alternative and works really, really well. Next to him, we're going to have a box-to-box midfield player, the player who's got to have the most legs in the team. This is going to be your Basuma, for example. We're going to have cross-aim centre, get further forwards, and also move into channels. So this player is going to run his socks off every single second of the game, because he is going to get forward, he's going to help this front four create chances, possibly even get a cheeky goal himself, but also come back and do some defensive work, breaking up counters and really linking up the play. So make sure you've got a player with really good work rate and stamina to facilitate this role. If you haven't got a player that has got any of that, you could opt to have a nice central midfield player, which is not going to be as sort of demanding on your player. Going to the wingers then, we're going to have an inside forward on the left-hand side, who is going to be on attack, on shoot more often, and also tackle harder. There's going to be a fair few players on tackle harder. We do have a very aggressive style going on here, obviously, to replicate Ange's style. They do love a challenge here and there. And basically, this is going to be pretty much made to facilitate Heung-min Son, a player who does cut in and have the occasional shot, and I feel like not having shoot more often somewhat wastes what Heung-min Son can offer. He has got finishing stats as good as a striker, so I do like to let him have, you know, the opportunity to pop in and just let one rip at goal, because he he can finish. Let's just be honest. Going into the centralised area, obviously at FM, this could be your Kuleveski, could be your Maddison, depending on your preferences. For me, I ran Maddison through this position here, and he was absolutely sublime. What a signing that was for Tottenham, by the way. On attack, dribble more, roam from position, and also move into channels. As most positions are, you can obviously have all these on, and it pretty much says what it's going to do. He's going to be a nightmare to track, a nightmare to defend, because he's going to be in all different areas of the field, linking up play, and it's just so hard to stop. On the right-hand side, we've got an inverted winger on this occasion, on attack, on cross more often, stay wider, and also tackle harder, which in this case was going to be your Kuleveski. And to finish it off, no Harry Kane, but we're still going to have a complete forward, because that's personally what I see and how I see Tottenham playing. That is going to be on attack, simply on tackle harder. How this tactic lines up, guys, we scored an absolute bank load of goals, 3.39 goals per game, conceded at 0.95, which is still way under a goal a game, and we are going to go over ways you can obviously make that a bit more defensive when we show you the defensive variant, but realistically, we're scoring triple, over triple what we're conceding, so we are completely fine. We've not exactly got the best defence in the league either. A decent pass completion, nearly 24 shots a game. There's not much not to love. In terms of the team instructions, by the way, it is going to be based off a custom or a control possession tactic, a positive mentality, fairly wide on the attack and width, pass into space, playing out from the back is going to be a key part of this system, shorter passing directness, a higher tempo, work ball into the box, and mixed crosses. Now, this is going to dominate possession, you're going to have a lot of the ball, but just having this pass into space on really does help finding those long runs, which typically Son makes, or Kuleveski. They do make some dangerous runs, so having this selected really does help. In terms of transition, we're going to have counter press and counter, roll it out, and we've actually specifically asked for a position, and that is going to be to the ball playing defender, because he is going to play it out from the back. He's going to have a very easy pass to these midfield players, or even out wide perhaps. Now this is something you can decide whether you want to do this or not. You can easily change it here obviously and just go to the centre backs, or even go long if you want to, but to replicate it, they do sort of try and play out from the back, Tottenham, so I have selected that left centre back. In terms of outer possession, we've gone with the standard defensive line, the high press and line of engagement, more often on the trigger press, and also prevent short goalkeeper distribution. But of course, guys, as always, we are going to have 3 variants today. We've now got the attacking and defensive variant to go over. Make sure you get hold of them. And I do want to quickly thank all of the wonderful names coming down the screen right now. These are going to be new or existing Patreon members. Patreon is a great way for you guys to get some really cool perks, including access to all 3 of these wonderful files in one simple click and applicable download, early tactic videos, and also early tactic releases, priority in your rebuilds, tactics, and anything really when it comes to the requests, also one-on-one tactical help, and access to the exclusive Patreon giveaways. And do you know what? Any support, it does mean the absolute world to me. You guys have been killing it over there recently, and honestly, the support has been mind-blowing. So I will have a little link in the description, but it's completely up to you. But let's go ahead now, waste no more time, and talk about the attacking variant. So the attacking variant has got a little bit of a change going on. Now, it's going to look fairly similar, because whenever I recreate a manager's tactics, I don't like to drift away from the formation. Hence why it's going to remain as a 4-2-3-1. The centre forward remains exactly the same. The inside forward remains exactly the same. Same for the AM as well, and also the right-hand sided winger. I'm just going to show you these just to prove nothing changes, because the last thing I want is people thinking that, you know, I'm not showing you everything, so I'm going to quickly go over them. The only real change that comes in is going to be this central midfield player obviously comes in instead of the ball-winning midfield player. He's a little bit more pushed up, a little bit more attacking-minded, and just simply on tackle harder on the supportive role. In terms of the back, the inverted wing-back on the right is now going to be instructed to get further forwards, because I want him getting a lot more involved in the attacks when we do push forward. The wing back on the left is going to remain exactly the same, and obviously both central defenders also remain unchanged. Mentality does switch to attacking. Just to clarify, in possession, we're going to have fairly wide, pass into space, overlap left and overlap right are now going to come in and play a big factor in creating those chances. Shorter passing remains the same, because that is the Ange way. A higher tempo is also going to be applied, alongside a be more expressive being the real big change here as well, letting the players be obviously more expressive, as corny as that sounds, work ball into the box, and also mixed crosses. Transition, there's going to be a couple of changes. We're going to distribute the ball quickly, and we're also going to distribute the ball to the playmaker, and that should actually be on take short goal kicks. I've just noticed that. So this is just a little bit more of a direct play of getting the ball moving, basically. Hence why this attacking variant is made for if you're a goal down, you can switch to it and really get at the opposition. If you want to go into a game against a really weak team as this style, as attacking, you are more than welcome to do that, and it will perform really well. But I would recommend just playing it to the centre-backs on that occasion. You don't need to push it that further up and, you know, take risks. It's simply on distribute to the playmaker, just because this is purely made for when you are a goal down. In terms of the out of possession, the only change that is going to be coming in is going to be that high defensive line. We've still got the high pressure line of engagement, we've still got more often, and we've still got pressure on the goalkeeper. But just pushing the team up a little bit obviously is going to result in more pressure on the opposition and hopefully more goals. And going over to the defensive variant, where things do look a little bit different, so we are going to talk about them right now. We're going to have the centre forward, who is now going to be on support, still on tackle harder. We're going to have a winger on the left on support on tackle harder, and exactly the same on the right hand side. This is now simply going to be two players that are going to be permanently out wide, easy passing options to control possession, and obviously they can get a ball in the box. We're not really looking to attack much anymore, to be honest, with this variant. We're just having default wingers, provides loads of width, and it does exactly what I want the players to be doing. In the central area, we're going to have the attacking midfield player, who is going to remain on these instructions, just on support now instead of attack, because we still want one player being a bit of a nightmare to track, getting in dangerous areas, because if you don't have any attacking outlet, you're just going to be so negative, you're going to welcome so many chances against you, and eventually one is going to go in. So it is important to still have a little bit of an attacking threat. The box-to-box midfield player remains in the team on support, but he gets all of his sort of privileges, if you want to say, when it comes to the attacking, taken off him. He is now on the default, which obviously is going to be run from position naturally, but he is now going to be a lot more sort of calm, disciplined, less attacking, and more focused on helping at the back than going forward and getting goals or assists. Next to him, a ball-winning midfield player on defend on the default instructions. Again, these default instructions do exactly what I want him to say. I would have had tackle harder on him, but obviously when he is on defend, that already happens for you. The back four remains a little, there is a couple of changes. The inverted wing back drops to defend as well. Again, we've got enough players. These four here are the only players I really want pushing up on the counter attack. I don't really want the fullbacks getting that much involved. And the wing back on the left hand side also drops to defend on stay wider. The mentality does drop to positive, and in terms of in possession, we're going to remain with fairly wide. Pass into space, playing out from the back is still going to be a much needed thing. A shorter passing directness. We've lowered the tempo a little bit to standard, sometimes on the time wasting, work ball into the box, and also mixed crosses. So we've still got a little bit of an attacking threat, but now we're much more focused on playing a little bit of a less aggressive pressing style and just focused on controlling possession and dominating the ball. Transition, there are going to be a couple of changes. We're going to remain having the counter press style on, and nothing's going to be selected when possession has been won. We're going to slow the pace right down when we've got the ball, and on this occasion, so that is going to be 3 changes now, we're going to have distributing to the centre backs, because I want them to be a little bit more comfortable. They don't have to just play to one centre back, play to any of the centre backs and sort of play it out from the back, maintain the ball, run the clock down. So that is going to be 3 different areas of distribution. I'm not being awkward, I promise, but they do all have very logical reasons. And in terms of out of possession, we're going to have the standard line, the high pressing line of engagement more often, and also prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now, if you are desperate to defend a game, and I mean desperate, I wouldn't actually recommend going into a game like this. The one thing I know I done is you can lower this line a little bit and also drop this to a mid block. This is going to be a very negative way of playing football, and that's why I wouldn't recommend going into it for a full 90 minutes. But if you are sort of in the last 5 to 10 and you're in that mindset of, look, I just want to defend, get the ball gone, then this is something you could definitely apply. But that is going to give you guys 3 of the best Ange 4-2-3-1 FM23 tactics. An absolute ton of fun making it. Tottenham are flying. Let me know in the comments where you think they're going to finish. And if you have enjoyed today's video, please do leave a like, drop a little subscription below, and hit that wonderful notification bell. This way you're never going to miss another tactic video, Wonder Kid video, rebuild video. We've got it all going on, so be sure to drop some requests as well of whatever you want to see. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.